Okay, now it's going to be time for you to sketch out an idea for your Green is Good poster based on the reducing carbon footprint choice you made as a group. And I want you to look for inspiration in advertisement. Advertisement is a great way to see how people have been using Photoshop and a great way for you to see how you could use Photoshop for your ad. What you see in front of you right now is a great ad for, or a design actually, for an architect on a skate park. But I want you to know a couple of the design elements that really make this pop. Uh, One of them is the use of the brush right in front. Second is the cutouts of different skaters giving you perspective. It's different sizes going back, so you really have that perspective scale. You have other skaters coming off the picture, which makes a really interesting effect because it brings the viewer in. So that's a great thing, is having images coming off your screen. Another great tool let's look at are some ads. There we go. Okay, so do something that's unexpected, like we see here in this ad. And this one, of course, was for tennis shoes, but you can always replace that tennis shoe. And notice that you could take a photo and then place that unexpected object on top of it using your Photoshop. Again, ads are great for inspiration. Maybe you can take an object and then copy it in unique ways to actually make a new shape out of those objects. Again, using that tennis shoe here, continuing many times in ads, they'll do lots of different iterations of a theme, and you can think about that in your group. Each person could do a different theme of the same concept. You could have a two-part, a top part to the ad and a bottom part, kind of completes and telling a story. And that takes us to the second part. Notice that all these ads, believe it or not, tell a story. And that's what you want to do with your reducing the carbon footprint. And that's sort of hard. But here we can see that the story relates to the bread. There was a picnic. The bread was so popular that the people are being inundated by the pigeons coming from the bread. And you've probably seen at parks where there's always someone feeding the pigeons with the bread. So this is letting you know that spotted how excited or how good this bread is. So it kind of tells a story as well. Although we know that none of those birds were actually doing any of that. It's all photoshopped. Okay, again, taking those unusual ideas. Here we have the fish swimming to the cleaner water. Tells the story again. Tells us that this water in the ad, the water in the tank is really fresh because the fish are swimming to it hoping to get to that water. Very cute. Again, none of those fish are really there, all photoshopped. Again, do the unexpected, right? We don't expect a hand to come out. And what's interesting here is even though this is in a different language, your ad should almost be able to transcend any language. So it's something like, yes, I want it, I'm excited by it. Uh, by placing a hand that may not have been in that garbage can, seems very Photoshopped to me. So again, doing those unexpected images and telling that story. Here you can be always dynamic. And this takes us into our next part of the project is about using brushes. So in here, and you've been using brushes, we're going to continue that using more brushes to create even more artistic work. And here, of course, all these arrows are coming, or they're shattering out of him, but it shows great dynamics. Uh, so you can always have an object that's exploding or coming together using different brushes that you just paste onto the object really close and tiny, and then you start to make that brush get bigger and bigger as it goes away. Again, do that unexpected, something out of the ordinary. So normally a purse would not be in the jungle. So you could, in your ad, think about placing unnatural objects in nature or natural objects in unnatural places to help tell your story about reducing the carbon footprint. Be very creative. I think I have a couple more to show you here. Really cool is you can have one object, again, using brushes. All of this was done in Photoshop using brushes. And you can have just a very dynamic background with a center object that you really want to focus on. And just making that so beautiful, people really want to look at it, making an artistic painting. Be inspired wherever you see graphic work. Again, here, you could have a background just painted, lots of different brushes, tons of brushes, center object. Here they've added some text on the sides. This is the calendar, but still, you could have your message right there with the image in the center, keeping it focused, and this having beautiful textured background, all done with brushes. 100% brushes from Photoshop. Here we have a interesting ad or design. Notice that it's cropping out, not in the greatest, but it's juxtapositioning lots of different images together. This you have to find out what are all the images I want. And then they've done interesting stuff by like removing the face of the guy, blending the woman in the bridal outfit, adding some bars with brushes. These are all types of brushes. Right. Cutting out unusual objects that go with that idea. Being very inspired. Now, just to kind of show you a couple of different ways that I myself have used Photoshop, just to kind of inspire you. Here are photos that I took of Chicago. But again, I just want you to show that you could have an image. And here I have lots of different images from Chicago that I took to give you the impression of the whole city. So you can put images on top of images. I've also used a lot of brushes. I painted in between the images just to kind of give you an idea. Here another image where I painted the background. I painted different photos together. I've used brushes in the front. So you could have lots of brushes. I have someone coming out of the picture again. I've placed trees where trees didn't exist, but you could create a whole scene for your ad. I want you to really be inspired. I hope this kind of helps you think about ideas that you can make for your poster. And tomorrow, you'll start to be sketching your ideas out. All right, can't wait. Remember, be creative.